Hello, and welcome to a special version of my From the Depths videos. This is the first time I've done a From the Depths video based on a ship build that has actually been made in real life. This is the Imperial Japanese Navy Chikuma, IJN Chikuma class ship, originally built in 1911. Launched, well actually it was commissioned in 1907 and launched on the 1st of April 1911. There were 3 ships in the Chikuma-class: the Chikuma, the Yahagi and the Hirade. This was the first of the 3 ships that were commissioned. Anyway, so let's have a look at the ship. I've fully fitted it with weaponry, which is similar to the original design, modified a little bit to fit with From the Depths. So for example, there were 8 Type 41 6-inch 45 caliber naval guns. I have put 8 twin barrel, some weird and wonderful size C-rams on this thing. As you can see, if we go around, all the way around, okay, so that's the 8. There were 4 QF 12 pounders, 12 GWT naval guns. They're a bit smaller than these were supposed to be, so I went for an advanced cannon style and I turned them into rail guns. They're single cannons, but they do a fair punch damage anyway. We've got 4 of them, so we've got 1, 2, 3 and 4. There were 3 torpedo tubes. This one I'm going to have to go underwater for. So I was unable to find any sort of design requirements to say where to put them, so I have From the Depths styled them. So we have 1 aft torpedo tube, which is on a rotator. You can actually turn that, it turns slightly either way, and 2 fore torpedo tubes, 2 front fore torpedo tubes in a nicely stylized underwater design yet again. This one has a 360-degree spin on it with directional torpedoes. The torpedoes originally were 457mm, 18-inch, but in the purposes of From the Depths, these are 11 blocks long, which, if you're going block length, that's 11 meters. But I mean, 18-inch wouldn't exactly cover an entire block. So we're done for those. There were 2 other weaponry attached. 2 other weapons attached. There were 7.7mm Lewis guns. Now, a Lewis gun is basically a rather large handheld gun. So I was able to find a photo which suggested that they were on top of the conning tower and at the opposite end of the vehicle as well. So I have placed one here. It's just an auto cannon on a spinner. It's the same on the rear. There we go, facing the opposite direction. So the ship was originally designed to reach about 26 knots, 30 miles an hour, or 48 kilometers an hour, depending on where you're from. With the setup, this thing reaches about 12.8, 12.9 meters a second, which isn't far off the actual speed. I'm going to pause this video for a moment to get that number. So, as you can see with the Windows calculator, brilliant thing here, we can see that the speed was 26 knots to 13.3 meters a second. Now that means that I'm 0.5 meters a second off, but I'd say that's pretty accurate. More luck than judgment there. Anyway, back to the vehicle here. So, this thing came with 2 shaft steam turbine engines and 16 Campon boilers. So the 2 shaft steam turbine engines I've modified a little. It's not 2 shaft, it's more than that. I'm going to go in and find it so you can see. So we've got 2 shafts here, but I've actually got it doubled. I've got a second set somewhere else. There are 16 boilers, however. So we've got I think it's 12 in this room here, or 10, and in here, behind here, go inside, you can see we've got another 4 generators and another 2 shafts of what do they call them, pistons in here. What do they call it? Cranks. That's it, cranks. Got it. Okay, so let's come back out of the vehicle. The vehicle had 4 funnels, which all 4 funnels do function. They do all produce steam. However, this one's a bit lighter than the rest for some reason. They're all but one are powered from the same. No, all of them I think are powered from the one set of steam engines. So that's probably why they're a bit funny. 2 main masts, one at one end, one at the other. I can't do rigging, as anyone who plays from the depths knows, rigging doesn't exactly exist. So yeah, let's take a look around, see what else we can find. Its draft was 5.1 meters. This thing is a bit bigger than that. Let's have a count. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got a draft of 8 or 9-ish here. So that's from the bottom to the waterline itself. Scaling wise is probably a little bit higher than it should be, but still. We've also got a length of 134 meters. So if we go into the vehicle statistics, this thing has a total length of 300, so it's pretty much double. So if you're talking doubles numbers, the draft is about right, the length is about right. And that's about it for its general statistics. It was classified as a protected cruiser, and it was sunk as part of trying to remember what it was sunk part of. Hold on. Okay, yeah, so the ship was sunk, but it was expended as a target rather than it being actually sunk. So it was used as a floating target. In 1935 it was sunk and lost. It was removed from active service in 1931, which is interesting. It's a 20-year service, which is quite nice for a boat. So yeah, let's have a little walk around the ship with the actual floating man, whatever it is. Interesting chain links I've set up here. But anyway, so let's have a little wander around. So this is the front, the bow of the ship. We're going to go up into the conning tower, the main conning tower. With the seat here, we've got ourselves a standard ship horse wheel, some fire control computers, because it just doesn't do it justice otherwise. You can sit in the wheel, and so you've got full control of the weaponry from here. Okay, let's have a little walk off. Just close the door behind us. Down the steps. Okay, we do have an internal door, so we do have the ability to basically go up and down the entire ship from either end, almost entirely inside, which is quite handy if you were to be playing in first person. So this is the goes down to the main deck, so we can actually get out to the main deck from here. So here's one of the main Type 41s on the side here. We've got, obviously it's the same, we've got 3 sets on one side with little gates just to make sure you don't fall through. A nice little walking bit behind, but unfortunately I made it too narrow. That's why I've kind of put the gates on, so you get forced to go around. So we do have a door. Let's get through the door. Okay, what we've got? Repair tentacles, because obviously every ship from 1911 had them. Not. Where are we? It should be just after that first one now. There it is. Okay, so we're back out. We're towards the rear of the ship. That's 2 actually. No, that is right. That is right. Towards the rear of the ship now, we've got the 2 secondary weaponry. Secondary guns here, the QF-12 pounders. One here and one here. QF-12 pounders don't exist in the game, so as you can imagine, this is only sort of like a rendition of what it could potentially be. Oh, if you're wondering why there's silver posts here, it actually prevents the guns from spinning all the way around and actually prevents them shooting each other to oblivion, which is handy in a way when you're firing at a target. The ship is well lit, so at night time you can actually see it, which is something a lot of people neglect to add to their vehicles. We have ourselves another internal section here. This is not a funnel section, so all the 4 funnels are towards the front, not the rear. This, I believe, is an underground access section, which it is. Not underground, obviously, deck access. So we can go down to the first lower deck. There are 2 lower decks, so this one and the one below that. Excuse the water for a moment while I turn the air pump water visual effect off, so we can go all the way down. So we can see this goes all the way down to the hull of the ship, and you can tell it's the hull because we've got this nice central line down the middle. It's useful to just keep the ship put together. So, as you've already seen, we've got one steam engine room in here, and I believe it's this side. Yes, the other steam engine room in here. Okay, let's come out there for a minute. Let's go back upstairs to finish up the main deck tour. Where are we? Are we at the... No, we're not. We need to go around and go up one more. Okay, we're now back on the main deck. Well, let's go out this side. Oh, come on. There we go. Right. So we've got the rear side main cannons here, followed by another access to under the main section. There's nothing actually in here. I thought I'd put something in here, but obviously this is just empty storage. I have to put something in there for usefulness. Okay, so let's go up to the rear deck, rear main deck, rear top main deck even. Okay, so we have our rear gun, rear facing gun, looking out over the stern of the ship. And that concludes the length of the main deck. So I'm going to go up into the secondary control room, the secondary conning tower. I don't know which, if either originally had the conning station, so I've put in them both. Obviously the front one is the main one and the rear one is like a secondary, so a secondary control if necessary. Works the same as the first one, as they all usually do. Handy. There's the stairs. Okay. If we come in around here, we've got accessing inside, but this time we don't have access to underneath. I considered putting it in on here, but I didn't feel it was needed at the rear as much as at the front, as that's the main conning area. So there's nothing else under there. So if I'm going to go back under to the next deck down, the first lower deck. Nothing else in here, is there? No. Okay. Oh, if you're wondering, these are not actually anything in particular. They're just from remnants from the bit above. The vents, fans. I don't know. Internal vents, I think they are. I can never actually remember what they are. No reason to use them, know about them, but just added them in anyway, as that's what's on the original ship. So we're now on this first lower deck. This is actually a superfluous door. I was originally going to push it all the way across, but never did. Okay, so the rear of the ship should be through here, which, as you can see, I've managed to give myself yet another control room. This is a backup control room from any attacks from above. We've also got some ammo making tools here if necessary too, and some RTGs as a backup, just in case something goes wrong underneath. This is actually the rear of the vehicle. There is nothing else further back. Okay, moving forwards. Okay, so we're into the next section here. So under here, these are raised sections deliberately. There's actually heavy armour under here. This is where the ammo racks are. They are 3 layered and 5 sections per layer, I think it is. So we've got like 15 different, is it 15 or 12 per points per side. So even if someone manages to get a penetrated shell in, only part of the ammo rack actually gets taken out. That, I believe, yes, that is one of the final pipe accesses, so that's where some of the steam goes. I've surrounded it on both sides just so it's even. Okay, this is another funnel access, and for some reason I never actually put anything around it, which I probably should have done. It's not essential, but still. It would be nice to be more consistent, wouldn't it? and it looks like I've done the same thing here. This is the third and the fourth funnel. And at this point we are now at the lower deck access from this point. Interestingly, this is only lower deck access. There's no way to go up on this particular room because it's all through here and the what do they call it? Quarters, crew quarters. Secondary thoughts here would be to have actually made a captain's quarters, but never really did. So everyone's got crew quarters. Every single room is the same. If I go in, you can have a look. So inside we have a toilet made from a port and an air pump because it's a sealed room, and 4 beds. So every single one of these is 4 beds. If you want me to do the maths, I'm more than happy to. There is no information on the number of crew available on this particular type of ship, so I've just taken a guess as it being quite a low number. So we've got 18 crew quarters, 4 crew per quarter. So it's 18 times 4, 9 times 4 is 36, so it's 72. So I've got a 72 crew. I suspect it was probably close to 150, but that's just a guess. And we've also got a 4 secondary control room, which is handy. So there are 4 control rooms on this vehicle, just in case. And pure from the depth style. So I'm going to go back up these steps now, so we can see where we are. We're now actually underneath the main conning tower, which I will show you by coming out here. So there's the main conning tower, and for some reason it's pushed me through everything, so let's just go back down again. Okay, so you can see we can access the main conning tower from here, or at least into the lower sections of it. Spawn point just in case. Okay, so let's go back through into the crew quarters. Is it? No, it's not the crew. Yes, crew quarters is down the deck, isn't it? Go back through into the crew quarters. We've already looked at the front over there, so let's go down from here. Okay, so we're going down to the lowest most deck on the ship. So we're now on the lowest deck of the vehicle. I have my advanced cannon APS. This is for the QF 12-pounders on the main deck, for the full 4 of those. We have the very front of the ship. So this goes up to the main gun on the front. I thought about rounding it off in here, but never got around to it, so I've just left it as is. There's nothing else in here of interest, and to be fair, it's pretty tough, this boat, so even if you were to get through, it wouldn't make much difference. Interestingly, this wall here is actually a fake wall. On the other side of this wall, which I'm going to show you quickly, there is like a gap section, so this is a flood zone. The flood zone does run all the way along the side of the ship internally, on both the lowest deck and the deck above, and there is air pumps in every single one of them. Okay, back to me. So let's go back a room, back to where we were a moment ago. Okay, so back to the APS point. That's the stairs I've come down, and you can see here that goes up to one of funnels. So from here you can actually see the funnel access. There's another funnel access. Third one is through this door, I believe. There it is. Yep, just literally above there. Okay, so we're actually in a room that you can walk around the edges of. I believe this is the battery storage. Does I have a sign? I put a sign somewhere. Yeah, this side doesn't have it. Okay, so we're at battery storage. So got stuck in the door. So in a similar style to the ammo racks, I've done the same thing here with the batteries. I've separated them out one line at a time with light alloy. It doesn't do a lot, but as batteries don't explode quite as much, they're fine as they are. Interestingly, on the top of every single one of these there is an electric engine as a backup from the steam engines, just in case there's a problem. That is not for authenticity's purposes, that's more for the modernisation requirement for this particular game. So out of the other side of the battery storage, and we go into, I believe, one of the steam rooms? No, not the steam rooms yet. Oh, no, this is material storage. So we've got some signs. We've got ammo and mat storage. So the ammo storage is there in that section above. That is the 2 or 3 layers with the 5 sections in, or 3 or 4 sections, however many it is. And same again that side, with the material storage hidden underneath. So let's go through to this room here, which I believe we've seen already. We have a backup steering wheel, just in case. This was put in quite early on in development, so it's still here. No idea where that water came from. So we've got steam controllers. We're running at 86% on 2 of them and 100% on the other 2. So this particular section, let's go into, you can see it again. So we've got 4 boiling chambers. These are for, where's it go? There it is. Sorry, this thing here. Boiling chamber. I don't think that's the right name for it. This should be electric generators. Oh, hang on. The boiler's next to me. Donut. Of course. The thing above it is the electric generator. These are the boilers down the bottom. So we've got the 2 there. And then you can see there's another 2 over there. Sorry, another one over there on that side and another one over that side. With the pistons running there. So we've got, as I say, 2 electric generation sections above there. Let's go close the door. At the other side. There we go. With a bit of piping just to make it look a bit more authentic. Okay, so we're going into the last section, which is the reason why there's so much steam. Oh, stuck on the door again. There we go. Right, so this room, interestingly, has everything linked together and provides the steam to pretty much the entire ship. So for all the all but one of the funnels, I believe, above, this generates it all. Now the reason for this is because there's so much boiler power. We've got so many boilers powering so few electric and piston generated points here that there's actually that much excess steam. You can see there it's got a pressure of 641. So for every pipe that vents, the lower the pressure gets. For every pipe that doesn't vent, the higher the pressure gets. Now a piston can only run at 1800, and these are running at practically 1400, so they can take a small amount of damage. Now every single funnel has 9 ejection pipes, so that's 9 times what you would normally get from a single pipe venting, mostly because of this. Also gives you more of an authentic steam engine look from the top, but because of what it produces, it is just crazy. Anyway, so let's go through. This is the last room, the rear of the vessel. Very last. Oh, got stuck on the door again. Very last room on the boat. So this is actually one of the very last rooms I actually built too. It's got a few sort of structure builds. It's got its own extra, what do they call them? Electric generation pipe things. They go through there somewhere. And believe it or not, this was actually a section that I did not design outside. I designed it inside. The outside was designed by Rich Larice, who is absolutely amazing at creating vehicles, or mostly ships. And then I've just tagged up bits on. So, for example, I've tagged on the superstructure inside, the steam turbine generators, the internal design, basically, of this section. So, as you can see here, there is a torpedo tube. That is the aft torpedo tube, which, as I said earlier, you can see it steers. So, yeah, completely visible. You can see it doesn't steer all the way. And yeah, it's quite cool to be able to actually watch what's happening as well as sort of sitting here. It does mean that you can actually control this thing without actually having control of the entire vehicle, which is great. It means that if you wanted to have first person, on for every weapon. It's possible. And now I'm stuck. There we go, I'm out. Close the door. Okay, so yeah, let's get back onto the main deck and summarise. Someone's going to be commenting about my infuriating continuous closures of doors, I'm sure. That's if you've actually watched this far through. If this is the kind of video you want me to be making more of, I'm more than happy to do so. Complete builds are something I rarely do, and in fact this is an achievement just to have completed a boat, let alone anything else. Yeah, let me know. If you like this boat, give me a like. If you like what I do, subscribe. If you want to see this boat in action, wait for another video, because I'm sure I'm going to put one out with this thing actually firing and doing damage. It is not the most powerful thing in the world, but it does enough. Thank you for watching.